Hello everyone, welcome back to Ben the Human Plays Vagrus, the Riven Realms. Uh, I forgot once again that I have to save by sleeping. And when I did that, my workers went out and they got some money. They did like odd jobs around the city. It's been a couple days since the last time I played, so I don't remember exactly what they did, but they did earn money. Money was earned. I don't know exactly how they did it. I'm not going to ask any questions. But now we can go to the foundries and smelt some of our scrap metal here. Um, Actually, before I do that, let's make sure that we have enough inventory space to hold anything we smelt. Right now we're full. What I think I'm gonna do, so we have beast fangs. Let's sell those. It just says they're valuable. And what are they going for here? We could sell them for 4 and 4. That's pretty good. I don't really have a use for them, so I'm just going to yeet those two. Hide. Ideal for clothing, armor, and tools. We could sell those as well. Might as well. I'm in dire straits here. We need all the money we can get, and I don't know if any of those are going to be useful for me later. So right now, while we're just trying to keep afloat, let's sell those bad boys. Let's smelt some of our metal. We're going to smelt a larger amount, take the ingots, and then call that good. So leave the foundries. Let's go back to the market. We need to get more supplies. Basically what I'm planning on doing, so we learned last time about this settlement down here, the Vitrar. They want metal ingots. So what my plan is to load up on metal ingots, leave the city for a bit. Hopefully Sidarius doesn't get pissed off at me, but I'm gonna leave the city for a bit. Travel three to 5 days to Vitrar. Drop off that sage on the way. Get a copper for my trouble, and make a run to this group of individuals in the south. Offload all the metal we pick up, all these ingots here, and then hopefully we earn some money to keep afloat here. So we're gonna buy some more supplies. That's all of our money again, but we at least have 2+ days of supplies now instead of just 1. So, well, that's good. Do they have any equipment for sale? Quality tools, guard animals, hunting animals. I like that the dog's ears are kind of like horns. Mining equipment, perimeter alarms, protected harnesses, standard armaments. Alright, we don't have any money for any of that. That stuff's pretty expensive, except for the hunting animals and the guard animals, I guess. We could sell the dwarven compass, but for lots of money, actually. But I'm gonna hold on to it for now. It was dirt cheap when I bought it. I think average price was 189 and it sells for 32. That's kind of wild. So if we really need the money, we could try it. But for now, let's stick with our current plan. We're gonna let's check out some of the other things in the city while I'm still thinking about it. There isn't a real arena in Avernum, but no Imperial city could be imagined without at least a fighting pit. The one in this city is fairly large. However, recently it has not seen a lot of fights in spite of public demand. You learn that no Lanista favors the place since a gladiator revolt a few months back, which left dozens dead and most pit fighters gone. Since then, the pit has been used for public executions only. That is about to change, however, as the new man in charge wants to see the place rise again. This might even give you an opportunity to have your companions fight in the pit, as they are giving the chance to anyone right now. Seek out the medicos. It might be beneficial to your own crew. Bet on the fights. You are no expert in pit fights, but you might get lucky. Or enter the roster. It's risky, but it might be worth it. We'll hold off on that for now, because I want to try out this plan to go to the people to the south. The king of the underworld is known to grant peace to his adherents. The temple of Ascul Or the Temple of Sergorod, the vengeful god might grant you boons or curse your enemies. Could visit the Slag Fort. We already did that for the bounty. Visit the sorcerer. Oh, we can't leave the city? I've been building up for this plan to leave the city and I can't even leave. Or wait a minute. Can we exit? Dang it! Ah! Curse you, Cidarius! Okay, well, in that case, maybe we do eat the Dwarven Compass. +1 max movement just seems so useful, though. Like, I don't know how else you get movement in the game. So, let's see, what can we sell our... Ooh, we could sell some of our ingots for a lot. It looks like. Bronze, okay. Iron is a lot. And copper. Copper is about the same as bronze. So why don't we sell 1 copper, or 1 iron, and then 2 bronze. That gives us a decent amount of money. And we can now pay off our crew. We'll do that when we camp. Okay, so let's see here. Let's check out the investigation, since that's the thing keeping us in the city right now. You decide to follow up on one of the leads given to you by Cidarius. Which one will you choose? You can only pursue one of the 3 investigations per day. Okay. Let's see. We could go to the Slag Fort to spy on the magistrate, find the centurion, or seek out the smelter's collegium. I have a good feeling about the Rusty Pugio. Let's seek out the centurion. The Rusty Pugio is a fairly clean establishment with primarily soldier and veteran regulars. Because of this, not many shady fellows visit the place. That does not mean, however, that the regulars are well-behaved or sober. You can see a legionnaire passed out on a bench, while a few auxiliary troopers are playing a dice game in the far corner, laughing and swearing foully. Can we play the dice game? It doesn't look like it. You ask the barman if Vardus Pendius is here, and he points you to a swarthy, short, pot-bellied man in his 40s, wearing the dirty armor and uniform of a centurion. His helmet rests next to him on the bar. He is drinking alone. But we gotta get him drunk first, so let's sit next to him and buy him a drink. Vardus Pendius eyes the drink suspiciously, but his alcoholism gets the better of him and gives you a friendly smile. He takes it. And what do I owe this gift, friend, fellow soldier? You don't look like that to me, he slurs his words. Oh, it's hard to read something drunk while not drunk. He slurs his words as he eyes you up and down. The two of you start to chat, and Javek's sitting at a table in line of sight. You know you have to bring the conversation to the patrol he went on near the Molten Tongue so your friend can read his corresponding thoughts. Yet Pendius seems a little too sober not to be wary. We could just go for it with a moderate chance, or we could continue to buy him drinks. It's not a lot of money, and I think it'll increase our chances of success quite a bit. So let's do this. Success! Pendius has formidable resilience when it comes to booze, yet you manage to get him blind stinking drunk. You also guide the conversation to his notorious patrol to the north that only he survived. Not even his intoxication can hide his fear when he talks about the recon mission. Now, what you think it was? Thus, poor boys deserved not this, he laments. You could swear there were tears in his eyes. He mumbles about the whole affair not being what it seemed. Soon afterwards, you excuse yourself, but then Pendius is non-coherent anyways. You and Javek leave the Rusty Pugio. Alright, that went pretty well, I think. You go back to the Manzio, where Javek tells you he was mostly successful in reading the drunkard's thoughts on the patrol. He's clearly paranoid about the whole matter. He recalled his comrades being killed, but not out there in the wastes. It happened in some kind of a death trap in a large room, all young recruits. I think they publicly set up his patrol only to kill off everyone but him and told him to pretend they got slaughtered by abolitionists in the north. Basically, they created a fake story to make our nightly associate and his cronies think they were going to find a camp there. It boggles my mind how far they went to protect something. He kept thinking about Scoria, the district here in town. Maybe the massacre was done there. We are done with this part of the investigation. That went pretty well. Good job, us. So we can't investigate anybody else today. Why don't we stop by one of the temples? Let's go to the Temple of Oscul. The Temple of Oscul, the king of the underworld, is a small one, but the necropolis around it makes up for that in size. The whole district is quiet and looks almost deserted, yet the utter silence of the temple grounds really astonishes you. Glum-looking novices in gray tunics work without a word. Robed priests whisper to each other in alcoves and in corridors. Reanimated undead shuffle towards some unsaid task. The inside of the temple looks like a crypt, too, with many wall slots for bones. Even the depiction of the god of death itself is a standing stone sarcophagus, inside which is a statue of a giant robed skeleton. Yet for all their gloominess, the worshippers of Oscul tend to the dead and dying with great care, and are surprisingly open to questions and requests from visitors such as yourself. We don't have any. We can't just be buying things anymore. I know I've been eating money right and left, but I'm gonna exercise some restraint. Mark my words. Ask the priests about the bones in the city walls. You walk up to a priest and ask him about the bones embedded in the city walls. Are they maintained by the followers of the god of death, seeing how they are remains of some long-dead beings? Is Oscul not angry because these bones were not put to rest? The expression on the face of the robed priest is inscrutable as he begins to talk in a monotone, calm voice. The great king, is not offended because not only do we tend to the bones, but they are considered to be resting. You see, these bones were brought here from the plains of bone, where they were lying for who knows how long, unattended, forgotten. Now they have purpose. These remains adorn and empower our walls. They might not be interred or burned to ash, but they were given proper rituals, and the great king gave permission for their use. It is no different from the way we use the corpses of those who give us permission, and for those who, well, the enemies of the Empire. Necromancy was used to strengthen the bones too, and grim surprises await those who would be foolish enough to scale or attack those walls. You thank the priest for the explanation. There's necromancy here, huh? I guess there's undead wandering around. I don't know why I'm surprised. Let's see. Ask the priests about the god Oscul. You ask a friendly death priest to tell you about the king of the underworld. They are quite used to these requests, so he immediately shifts into a lecturing register. Oscul is the god of death, king of the underworld, who we call the great king, for he is the greatest of kings and rulers, ultimately ruling over all monarchs in death, except perhaps the emperor, who is thought deathless. The elder god of death was Tanat, who disappeared along with his pantheon after the calamity. Oscul appeared and took over Tartarus, the afterlife realm where the souls of most mortals go after death. The great king is thought to be the first of the dead because he is said to have died before any other being in creation. He has thus unmatched power over those that die. But Oscul is not an angry or evil god, no. He is the caretaker of souls and the one that gives peace to mortals after they die. Our duty is to administer the proper rituals and ensure that everyone gets their deserved respect upon leaving this world. You thank the priest for your explanation. I'm just getting, like, a college education in Oscul's theocracy here. Visit the Great Ossuary. Okay. The Great Ossuary is a system of labyrinthine tunnels and great dark halls carved into the earth and rock beneath the necropolis. Many of the more wealthy are interred here, as it is believed they are closer to Tartarus, and Oscul in this way. Most of the ossuary is off-limits, but a large section can be visited by the public. You walk through the vast halls lit by a thousand candles filled with the remains of tens of thousands. Most of these bones are carefully placed in racks built into the walls, or on intricately carved stone slabs. Novices tend to the more recent or the oldest ones. The halls are kept very clean and the air is cool inside. You find yourself sitting on stone benches and walking aimlessly, reading long inscriptions of names and deeds carved into the arches that lead to private crypts. The whole place makes you calm and contemplative. Its effects are felt long after you left. Ooh, we got some insight! Neat! We're not going to buy anything, but thank you for the insight. We'll visit the Temple of Sergorod tomorrow. Okay. Let's explore the city. You walk the streets of the city under ashen skies, taking a few of your best with you. Avernum is a large city of opportunities, but also of untold dangers. One can find all sorts of interesting things if one looks. Go for a walk. There's a street performance by a group of thespians, a reinterpretation of the tale of the stonemason's son. You find it quite amusing, but it is evident that most of the humor is aimed at the prefectus and his jurisdiction. Toward the end, the city guard appears and puts an end to the show. Boo! Boo the guards! The head of the troop is taken away! Oh no! And we'll get a sound beating, no doubt. Members of the Avernus Legion look on quietly from around the corner. Leave the scene. Alright, well, that was interesting. Cool. So let's go back to the Manzio here and have a rest. Oh, no, let's get some local news. Nothing. Did we get anything? Maybe we're just collecting news for, like, later. Because we're supposed to, like, as we go to other towns, we can trade that in for stuff. Alright, Morwen still has 5 out of 14 vitality. Javik is full on vitality, so that's good. Crew, cargo, companions. We should pay our dues, because they're gonna get mad otherwise. So, pay them now. We owe them 5 and 8. We'll still have plenty of money left over, so I think we should. Ah, this is what I saw before. So odd jobs. We have plenty of movement, so we should be sending them out on odd jobs every day, I think. So we can at least get some money back. And then, the question is, do we want to use medical supplies to try and boost Morwen's stuff? I think I'm okay with just letting it ride, since it's kind of a 50-50 whether or not she gets improvement or not. How are our stats right now? We're 7, 6, and our vigor's pretty good. I don't think we need to be paying for staying, so let's just sleep on the stable floor. I'm cool with saving some money. So end day, -1 vigor, lots of success. 93, well done. 5 and 9. We paid off our debts to our crew, so good job. Alright, back to the investigation. So let's go investigate the leads. Let's check out the Slag Fort this time. I think this is going to be a tough one, so we'll do the tougher one, at least what I perceive to be a tougher one, today, in the middle here. To your mild amusement, the plan Sidarius came up with to lure the assistant magistrate works. Upon arriving to the Slag Fort, you tell one of the clerk slaves in service of the courts that you have news about some Sergorod followers you think were killed in the north. The slave asks you to wait until he reports to one of his administrators. Before you could sit down with said bureaucrat, a clerk arrives to tell you that the assistant magistrate Darrow will personally listen to your account. You are escorted to the offices on the top floor of the courts. You are told to knock and enter. Javik looks at you knowingly as you stand before the office door. Morwen is picking her nails. You knock and enter. Alright, hopefully this goes well. You find yourself inside a spacious office with small slit windows looking out onto the courtyard of the Slag Fort. There's a desk here with scrolls stacked up on one side and a few opened ones lying in the middle. Maps of the region are on the walls and rows of shelves hold even more scrolls. A clerk's slave busies himself with organizing these. A middle-aged man with a warm smile rises from the chair at the desk. He has dark eyes and a receding hairline. Over his orange tunic is the sash of his office, blue and purple, with a silver clasp holding onto it at his shoulder. He introduces himself as Galudis Darrow. My subordinates tell me you have news of a group of Sergorodites. We are awaiting a cohort of such constitution back to the city, but we were beginning to be worried that something had happened to them as they are late. Perhaps you might have heard of them? We could tell him that you did not know about this cohort of his, or you could tell him that you've heard rumors in the city that such a company had left a while ago. I think this is, accurate. So if you asked around before coming here, understandable. I'm sure you wanted to know as much as you could beforehand, and I think you realize how urgent and important this matter is now, so please tell me everything. You tell him that you were forced to come here by a rogue knight of the Black Sun? We don't want to out Sidarius. I think that his plan is the best plan. So you tell him the fake story of Sidarius concocted. Just start at the beginning. You clear your throat before starting. My comitatus was traveling from Scrap Heap south along the Molten Tongue. We came around the Voiceless Lake, and started hearing the noises of battle. We approached and found dead bodies lying everywhere. My scouts returned with news of dead bodies to the east of us. I decided to investigate carefully. Or we saw some undead to the east shambling back and forth. We got rid of them right away, only to find bodies nearby. Let's do my scouts returned with news of dead bodies to the east of us. I decided to investigate carefully. Go on, Darrow, said Darrow, scratching his chin thoughtfully. We checked the bodies. There was lots of undead, mostly the smoldering variant. It was clear that there was a great battle there. The other bodies all belonged to the same group. They were all Serguradites and their armed followers, a handful of them, badly mutilated by the undead. We checked and found no survivors. We took some weapons and whatever valuables we could find on them. This is true, we did do that. Understandable, these must be of great value and you are a businessman. Your report now makes up for what you took, Vagrus. You carry on with the report. You conclude that the story by telling him that you did not come across any undead or Serguradites, living or dead, on your journey here. Have you seen a knight among the bodies, perhaps? Tall fellow, blonde hair, broad shoulders, dark armor, and quite an exquisite helmet? Fights with a greatsword? Darrow asks after a brief pause. You tell him you did not find anyone among the bodies matching the description, even though you checked them fairly thoroughly. The assistant magistrate thanks you and promises to bring the report before the high-ups in the city. Should they decide to further question you, they'll find you at your berth. You take your leave. Long after you've left the Slag Fort, Javik tells you that the plan has worked. I read his thoughts on the matter. It is clear that he knew much about the setting of the trap. He got really upset when you told him that Sidarius might well be alive. He thought about his career and the prefect, but also to report this to someone called Hanvius as soon as he can. Let's return to the Manzio. Alright, that's the second part of the investigation down. We've done good. We went to Oskul yesterday, so let's go to the Temple of Sergurad today. We could ask Sergurad to grant you power in return for serving him. Grant him... Oh lord, we have to kill a mount? Ask him to curse your enemies? Oh, we should definitely deliver the belongings. Definitely not inform the High Priest, because the High Priest might be in on it. But we don't have any money to grant power, so we'll just return the belongings. The temple complex of Sergurad in Avernum is quite small compared to most imperial cities, but it's still a menacing sight to behold. Built of dark stone, clearly not from around this place, the buildings are covered with spikes and blades that reach towards the ashen skies. Furious-looking gargoyles, as well as sculptures of Sergurad in the form of a powerful warrior in spiked armor, riddle the frontispiece. Inside, darkness covers all, and only red candles provide some meager light. Novices chant in shadowed alcoves, their grumbling voices adding up to a constant angry prayer. A priest steps out of the pitch dark and stops you. His painted face and black attire gives you the shivers. What is it you ask of Sergurad, the Raging One, Lord of Vengeance and Master of Curses? A modest contribution to the church, and you shall receive the powers of retribution. Well, we don't have a ton of money to spare, so let's deliver the belongings of Sidarius's dead companions. We melted the arms down, so that doesn't work. Would you give them all the looted weapons and armor, or only the holy symbols and personal belongings? We can't give them that, so give them only the holy symbols. The priests growl a short blessing and assure you that Sergurad will not forget you returning the belongings of his lost servants. You thank them before leaving. Cool. Well, we didn't really want to hold on to those anyway, so that's all we can do there. And let's wander the city one more time. Go for a walk. Alright. Not only does the bustling bazaar attract all the cut purses of the city, but the agitators and madmen as well. Most of the time you avoid these speakers on pedestals, but to your surprise, this time you find one of them quite interesting to listen to. The old philosopher in a fading toga talks about the calamity, how it was not a punishment by the elder gods for their omnipotence, would by definition surpass such mortal ideas of retribution. Rather, the catastrophe was an arcane manifestation of humankind's own self-destructive nature on a grand scale. Ooh, we could get into an argument with him? Dope! Alright, what can we talk about? Argue that without divine agency, no arcane event could have occurred on such a scale. We do have some arcane lore. Argue that no certain knowledge of the Elder God's omnipotence exists. Religion 1. History 1. Argue that the Empire has always been a progressive nation, not a self-destructive one. Disagree. Heavy disagree with that one. Report him to the followers of Sergorod. What he says is bordering on heresy. I don't feel like my Vagrus is a particularly devout or zealous person. I do like the idea of bantering with this old man, though, and this is the one that has the highest skill requirement. So let's try this one. The old philosopher falls silent and ponders this briefly. Aye, that is a most intriguing notion. I like how you suggest that us humans are incapable of causing destruction on such a scale, but I fear you may be mistaken. At any rate, divine scale can perhaps be supplied by less divine sources. He smiles as he climbs off the pedestal. The two of you talk for the next hour or so, exchanging ideas and theories about the Elder Gods and the Calamity. He has quite an odd view, but one that is fairly enlightening. To your credit, you managed to make him yield in certain areas of the debate. You say farewell with a lot to think about. One insight. Cool. Okay. And then we'll head back to the Manzio. And then we'll do one more investigation tomorrow, and then we'll check out this sorcerer, and then I think that'll be a full episode. So let's go to the Manzio real quick. Another rest. Send out our dudes for work. Pay later. These guys can accrue some debt for now. And we don't need. Our nutrition is 5. We have enough for 1 day of supplies. So let's sleep. Ah, dang it! They failed. They got some money, but we lost some vigor. So Morwen gained some vitality back at least. We might have to pay for some rest at some point now. Okay. Let's go back to the city. Our investigation awaits. And now let's seek out the Smelter's Collegium at the Gallows Anvil. The Collegium's headquarters is a large tavern called Gallows Anvil, right next to a bathhouse at the border of Scoria and the streets below the Villa District, filled with foundries and metallurgical workshops. The place is among the better ones in town, and the regulars are smiths, smelters, their novices, and merchants. All belong to the Smelter's Collegium. It would not be difficult to find someone higher up in the guild and talk to them. Javik can scan whoever you talk to for surface thoughts, but asking them about their possible connection to abolitionists might raise suspicion. So how do you want to approach them? Attempt to bribe them for information directly. Introduce yourself as someone seeking to join the abolitionists. That sounds like we could get ourselves in huge trouble. And pretend that you are a merchant wanting to deal in the black market. I kind of like that one, because this was all about dealing with the black market in the first place. And we have, plenty of money to spend right now. So we spend a lurg. The two fellows you and Javik end up talking to, representatives of the Collegium, are quite open to letting you buy wares from the black market for a modest contribution to the guild. They do have some questions about how you learned of their involvement in the market, though. After you assure them it was from business associates outside of the city, they seem content. Then they ask you what kind of goods you wish to buy. Tell them you heard of cheap contraband they got from ill-fortuned comitatai. You're interested in that, or tell them you want to buy slaves. I think we do this one. Stuff gets redistributed in the wasteland, so to speak, explains one of them, a fellow with a bushy beard. Some of our associates find them and bring them to us. It's good stuff, too. Weapons, tools. We also repair them and make them better. So you give us the order for what you're looking for, and our people will come to you with the goods. You tell them you'll think about placing an order before you leave town. It's time to leave. Ah, rough. You consult Javik when you're far from Gallows Anvil. He looks exhausted. Sorry, boss, it was very tough jumping between mines. Didn't get much from them apart from a sense that our nightly friend's suspicion was well-founded. They surely have dealings with the abolitionists, but protect their identities far more vehemently than that of simple illegal business partners. I could not get much except a glimpse of a street with a long yellow building when one guy was thinking about contacting their associates. That'll have to do, it seems. End. Alright, so we've concluded our investigation. Let's visit the sorcerer here. Alright. The Tower of Incanus the Sorcerer stands at the border of the hill, overlooking the streets and alleys filled with foundries and forges on the northeast side of Avernum. Half engulfed in smog, the tower stands much taller than any building nearby. The soot-covered walls made of black stone are so smooth that it looks almost seamless. A line of gigantic fang-like spikes crowns the flat top of the tower. You walk up to the iron gate where a large eye carved out of obsidian comes alive and gives you a good stare before emitting a strange moan and becoming motionless again. The gates open slowly to reveal a spacious antechamber that you enter. The roof is supported by black smooth stone pillars. Magical lights float sleepily around like fireflies. There are sofas and chairs here, enough to seat a dozen guests in great comfort. Somehow the place feels odd. It is many times larger on the inside than it should be, judging from the outside. A true wizard's house, of course. Bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. The imposing figure of Incanus stands motionless in the center of the antechamber and greets you in a monotone voice. You can't figure out if he's bored or simply lacks emotions in general, but he's courteous and very perceptive. You can only feel his piercing gaze from under the large hood of his crimson robes. There is something on your mind, Vagrus. Something you hope I'll provide a solution for. And you know that it'll have a price, he drawls. Is that a good monotone voice for a sorcerer? Hopefully I can remember that one for him. Tell me about the last pilgrimage? It's gonna cost money, but I have to imagine it's important, right? The sorcerer hesitates only a little before motioning his long-fingered hand for you to sit down and you comply. Something tells me that you've had an encounter with this cavalcade of spirits. Tell me about it, he says after he pockets your coins and sits down himself. You carefully recite your chance meetings with the last pilgrimage. Every now and then, Incanus interrupts you to ask very specific questions about your experiences with the specters. He seems especially interested in your visions that triggered when the undead procession was near. Incanus stays silent and motionless for a long while after you've finished telling the story. At length he stirs and asks you in a rasping voice, "What exactly that you'd like to know?" What is this last pilgrimage and how did it come to be? We already know that. We read the thing. What happens when they run into somebody? Well, we know they disappear. Is it they're following me? What could my visions mean, or can they be defeated somehow? I wonder if... I'm most curious about these two. Let's try this one. No account of an encounter with the pilgrimage I can recall speaks of visions, only apparitions in eerie light. Yours, and that of your companions, seem to be a unique reaction. I wonder if it has anything to do with your telepathic companion. The sorcerer glanced at Javik, who was standing a few yards away, leaning at a pillar. Unlikely, your friend says, frowning. At our second encounter with these beings, I was busy holding our beasts of burden from running away with my mind, so I did not see any visions at all. Would it be connected to me if I was the only one not to see anything? I concur, Akanus nods and turns back to you. Unfortunately, dreams, visions, and phantasms are not my area of expertise. I suggest you seek out an oneiromancer, or a shaman perhaps. The Sidurar tribes to the south and west have shamans who are said to communicate with the elements and spirits of the world, and maybe that such a person could tell you more. Well, we do plan to head to the south, so perhaps it would be wise to seek them out. Let's ask, can they be defeated somehow? Let me answer your question with a question, Incanus leans forward. If it was possible, why do you think no one has ever managed to do so? You gulp involuntarily. Alright, asked and answered. And then, is it possible they are following me? Ah, that is the question, isn't it? Incanus scratches his scrawny beard with skeletal fingers. All information collected by the wise throughout the centuries, as well as anecdotal accounts, tell us that the appearance of the pilgrimage is completely random, and that there has never been anyone recorded who encountered them twice, not even madmen who were looking for them. So when you told me about the 2 times you met the pilgrims, I was skeptical. Yet I can see that you are telling the truth. He clears his throat. There are 2 possibilities, I believe. One, it was indeed chance, however minuscule, that you managed to happen upon them a second time. The chances of a third encounter are negligible. 2, They are roaming a specific region, in this case, Arenas Negras, and because there is practically nobody in that region, they converged on the only living beings nearby, your comitatus. In any case, I'd avoid the desert of Black Sands and its border ranges for a while if I were you, and thank the gods for surviving 2 such chance meetings. You were not planning to visit that dreadful place anyway. We don't really need to ask these 2 questions, so we'll say that is all. Thanks for his help. We got 5 insight. Pay him again. No, collector of rare curios and oddities. Maybe he's interested in one of your items. We don't have a bone necklace. We don't have a jade figurine. We don't have a large energy crystal. We do have the dwarven compass, but it is lower than the local price. That's really nice that they tell you that, so you don't just yeet this thing and be like, ah, crap, I could have sold it in the market for 6 more. A looking glass, amulet of protection. Holy crap! Dragon egg. There's so many things he would buy. We don't have any of these things. Oop, scrolled too far. We don't have anything to sell right now. Pay him to identify something for you, or leave now. You did everything you came for. All right. Good to know that he'll buy like magic items and identify stuff for us. All right, cool. Well, that was good. We'll save reporting to Sidarius for next time. Let's do a quick. Oh, we should buy before I forget. Let's buy some food. Do shift. Let's buy 180. That's 2 days worth, and that's a lot of our money gone. But we need the food. And, yes. Okay, so we're gonna pause there, and we'll come back with Sidarius's hideout in the next episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Give the video a like if you did, and definitely subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the playthrough of Vagrus: The Riven Realms. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm definitely I feel like I'm getting the hang of how things go. The money making is a little harrowing, but there's a lot of ways to make money, so I'm kind of getting used to being on the razor's edge, I feel like. And also, if you subscribe to the channel, check out some of my other series. I have some demos that I played through with the Steam Next Fest about a month ago, and I've been putting a lot of my Twitch videos from my stream on YouTube as well. So check those out. Otherwise, I hope you guys had a good time, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody!